हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। शील प्रभुपाद की जय। गुरु महाराज की जय। वीरेंद्राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री गुरु कृष्णदास प्रभु जी की जय। All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you for all devotees for joining the Brahma Muhurta chanting. Sorry.
Bhagavatam.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Thank you, Father. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading morning session. Hare Krishna. So, Thursday we have completed one verse. We started a new chapter, chapter 18. The prayers offered to the Lord by the residents of Jambūdvīpa. So we started that verse. The introduction plus one verse was read already. So today we will start with verse number 2 onwards. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Thaviruttama Shloke Bhaktar Bhavati Nashtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pankum Lankyade Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Sri Gurum Dinadarinam Sri Chaitanya Misharam Om Jnana Divinandasya Jnananjana Shalagya Chashurumilidam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stavidam Yena Bhudale Swayam Rupagadamayam Dadanti Supadandhikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapatagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahanarigunadandidam Dam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Virjanasagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahana Lilada Sri Vishakhanidam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagalpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Taptakanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhya Chakrava Sindhubhya Vajapatitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidinamini Namaste Saraswati Deva Gurudevani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shubhati Vachatya Deshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Guru Pidani Guru Gadadam Dayana Gira Sami Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all devotees for our Nityam Bhagavata daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading morning session. So today we will start with verse number 2 of chapter 18. Okay, Shonaparji, I will start with the first verse.
Yes, Prabhuji, please. Yes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Bhadrashravasa Uju Om Namo Bhagavate Dharmayatma Vishodhanaya Nama Idi Bhadrashravasa Uju Om Namo Bhagavate Dharmayatma Vishodhanaya Nama Idi. Krishna. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhijnaranaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The ruler Bhadravarsha and his intimate associates utter the following prayer. We offer our respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all religious principles, who cleanses the heart of the conditioned soul in this material world. Again and again, we offer our respectful obeisances unto him. Once more, the ruler Bhadravarsha and his intimate associate utter the following prayer. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all religious principles, who cleanses the heart of the conditioned soul in this material world. Again and again, we offer our respectful obeisances unto him. Purport. Foolish materialistic persons do not know how they are being controlled and punished at every step by the laws of nature. They think they are very happy in the conditioned state of material life, not knowing the purpose of repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. Therefore, in Bhagavad-gita 7.15, Lord Krishna describes such materialistic persons as mudhas, or rascals. Namam duskridino mudhaha prapadyante naradhama. These mudhas do not know that if they want to purify themselves, they must worship Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, by performing penances and austerities. This purification is the aim of human life. This life is not meant for blind indulgence in sense gratification. In the human form, the living being must engage himself in Krishna consciousness to purify his existence. Tabo vidyam putraga yena sattvam shuddhayet. This is the instruction of King Rishabhadeva to his sons. In the human form of life, one must undergo all kinds of austerities to purify his existence. Yasmad Brahma Saukhyam Tva Anandam. We are all seeking happiness, but because of our ignorance and foolishness, we cannot know that unobstructed happiness really, what unrestricted happiness really is. Unobstructed happiness is called Brahma Saukya, spiritual happiness. Although we may get some so-called happiness in this material world, that happiness is temporary. The foolish materialists cannot understand this. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaja points out Maya Sukhaya Brahmam Udvato Vimudha. Merely for temporary materialistic happiness, these rascals are making huge arrangements, and thus they are baffled life. They are baffled life after life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sri Kumar Prabhu. Thank you very much for reading this wonderful verse. So we are actually in today means new chapter. Previous session we have seen the flow of Ganges. Now 18th chapter is discussing about the prayers offered by the Lord by the residents of Jambūdvīpa. So here we can see today, if you see this is taken from Bhagavata Subodhini, is this Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. So if you see here, this 18th chapter is fully of prayers. Because if you know, one of the bhakti process is prayers. You know, we see that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasyanam, Archanam, Vandanam. So when you are, this prayer is one of the important aspects by which we can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this whole chapter is full of prayers by the different residents of different varshas. Within the Jambūdvīpa, you know, there are 9 tracts of 9 different tracts of lands are there, divided in between by mountains. So here in every tract of land, every varshas, there are residents and there is a presiding deity. So for the residents are offering prayers to that presiding deity in the varsha. So this prayer is meant for pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is the purpose of the living entity. So here if you see 18, the first 5 verses is about the prayer of Haya Sirsha. By prayer to Haya Sirsha is the presiding deity of this by Bhadrashrava. In what is the Varsha? It's actually Bhadrashrava Varsha. This is prayer to. Prayer 1 actually already came in the previous one. And this is prayer 2. And 7 to 14 is actually versus prayer to Lord Narsimha by Prahlada in Harivarsha. That is prayer 3. Then 15 to 23 is prayers to Kamadeva, the Cupid. The Lord is personified in the form of Cupid by Lakshmi in Ketumala Varsha, prayer 4. And 24 to 28 is prayers to Matsya by Vayuswata Manu in Ramyaka Varsha. And 29 to 33 is prayers to Kurma by Aryama in Hiranyama Varsha. And the last section of this chapter is 34 to 39. That is prayers to Varahadev by Bhumi in Uttarakuru Varsha. So here we can see all these Varshas are there. Ketu Varsha and Hiranyama Varsha and Ramyaka Varsha. So here are these presiding deities. And you can see all these presiding deities, and they are the presiding deities, and the presiding deities are highlighted in the black font. And then the key inhabitants are actually said in the what is that, purple color. No, Narada. The key inhabitants here in Bharata Varsha is actually Narada Muni. Kimpurusha Varsha, we know that Hanuman, Sugriva, they are the inhabitants there. Hari Varsha is Prahlad, and Ketumala Varsha is Lakshmi, and in the Ilavarta Varsha is Sankarshna, and presided by the key inhabitants of Shiva followers and Bhadrashrava. Now we are seeing the rightmost. You can see Hayagriva, the horse incarnation. You can see people normally pray to Hayagriva. Hayagriva actually, he gives intelligence. Even children who are studying in the school, they pray to Hayagriva. So, the prayers today also very important day for Hayagriva. We are offering prayers. So the children also get good knowledge and intelligence. So here, Bhadrashrava, the inhabitants, and they are offering their prayers. So we are seeing this. And I want to clarify one point here. Last time we discussed about, there was a discussion about the Saptarishis, and we were discussing that they are residing in Maharloka. So and I went and referred further, actually you can see here in this one, this Maharloka is actually here. You see in this, Maharloka is in the 4th position. So Satyaloka, Tapaloka, you can see in the right side of the slide. 3 is Janaloka, 4 is Maharloka. But if you see Saptarishi, you can see below Dhruvaloka, these are the 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 Saptarishis. They are actually below Dhruvaloka. Okay, so they are below Dhruvaloka, above the sun planet. Saptarishis are actually not in Maharloka, they are actually in a different position. In English, actually, you can see here also, Satyaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka. Then Dhruvaloka is the topmost, that is the axis, center of axis for the sun. And you can see that dots, white dots here. This is Saptarishis. So here you can see the Saptarishis are here. So that is not actually referring to Maharloka. That is separate, independent Saptarishis. So that point we need to clarify. And in Western astronomy also, this is called as a Big Dipper. These are actually existing in the cosmic cosmos. It is categorized as Big Dipper. And if you see that line, that 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it is coming in the form of a plow shape. You can see here, one constellation. It is like a star, one constellation. So 7 stars we can say. So that is, you can see Marichi and Vashishta and Angira, Atri, Pulatsaya, Kratu, and Pula. So this is, if you connect, it is coming like a plow shape, and it is called as a Big Dipper asterism in actually Western cosmology. So it's called the Saptarishi constellation. So it's also called as the Ursa Major constellation in Western astronomy, composed of 7 stars, and it is easily recognizable due to its plow-like shape. So that is one clarification which we discussed last time for right understanding. So now we are going today to pray to highest Irsha, is a predominating deity in Bhadrashrava, in Bhadrashva Varsha. Here, very simple verse. I think in Bhagavatam, this is the easiest verse to recite. Very simple. Normally, Bhagavatam verses are very complicated.
Om Namo.
Yes, it's very simple. Like only 2 lines are there. And also, it is like same how Vyasadeva is offering before starting the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Here it is said Om Namo Bhagavate Dharmatma
Sure.
Visodhanaya Nama Iti. So his name is like referred here. So Prabhupada is giving the purport here. The ruler, Bhadrashrava. So the ruler is there. He is offering the prayer. That's why it is written as Bhadrashrava Uchuhu. Means he said Bhadrashrava Uchuhu. So the ruler is actually Bhadrashrava. He is reciting this verse. So he is starting giving the prayers now from this verse onwards. The ruler Bhadrashrava and his intimate associates. Because Prabhupada said a king is never alone. He's always with his associates. So Bhadrashrava and his intimate associates utter the following prayer to the presiding deity of that Varsha, Bhadrashrava Varsha. That is, the presiding deity is highest Sirsha. Okay. What does that prayer? Begin with the prayer. We offer our respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all religious principles, who cleanses the heart of the conditioned soul in the material world. Again and again, we offer our respectful obeisances unto him. So this is the beginning of the prayer, where it is said that he is the reservoir of all dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So all the religious principles, he is the reservoir. So whatever you are following the moral codes in this material world, it is all because it is instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead that we should be honest, we should be humble, we should not cheat others. This all we are following because God laid down this as a human being, how we should live in this world. So he is the reservoir of all religious principles. And he is also cleansing the heart of the conditioned soul in this material world. So when we take up the spiritual practices, when we are hearing about Krishna, we are hearing about scriptures, he will cleanse the heart. We know that very famous verse, Shinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Sharvana Tirtanam, Hridayantosya Bhadrani Vidunoti Sursatam. So whenever we hear about the Lord, when we hear about his pastimes, when we hear about his Vani, like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, then automatically our heart gets cleansed. That is a benefit of regularly hearing about the Lord and these scriptures. Our heart gets gradually purified by this process. And the ruler, the king is saying again and again, puna puna, again, respectful obeisances to him. So this is a prayer offered to the Lord there, presiding deity here. So first 6 verses is actually referring to the prayer only. 6 verses are referring. Then from 7 to 14, that will be prayers to Lord Narsimha by Prahlad Maharaj. So we know Prahlad Maharaj. Prayers already we will see during the Prahlad Narsimha Leela also. So here also Prahlad Maharaj is giving the prayer in Harivarsha. That is next prayer. So coming to this proper, Srila Prabhupada very beautifully gives a philosophy very strongly also. He's saying foolish materialistic persons, muda. The word foolish means muda. Do not know how they are being controlled and punished at every step by the laws of nature. Because why they are said as foolish? Because everyone is here thinking that they are independent. We are thinking that we have freedom. We can do whatever we want. No, but actually we are controlled by the 3 modes of material nature. We know that Devi Esha Gunamayi, Mama Maya, Duratya, Krishna says. And the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita very clearly says, Krishna says how the 3 modes of material nature is actually controlling a living entity. Sattva is controlling certain people, Rajoguna is controlling certain people, and Tamoguna is controlling certain kind of people. So every living entity is controlled by the 3 modes of nature. Not only the Jivatma in the material world, even the Devatas are also controlled by the 3 modes of material nature. The animals are also controlled by 3 modes of material nature. For example, the cow is controlled by Satoguna. The lion is controlled by the Rajoguna. And the camel, monkey, and all those animals are controlled by Tamoguna. So everything in this material world, say 14 planetary system, everybody is controlled by the 3 modes of material nature. But foolish materialistic people who do not have the spiritual knowledge, they think that they are thinking that having free. And according not only being controlled, They're also punished. How they are punished? Because this world is actually operating under the law of karma. So law of karma means whatever action we do, we get a reaction. If you do some sinful activities, especially in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada very clearly says that there are four major sinful activities: meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. So that is a sinful or prohibited things in the Shastra. So somebody will engage in that, then they will be punished by the laws of nature. So two things are there in this material world. One is we are controlled by the three modes of material nature, and also we are punished if we transgress the regulations given in the scripture. So controlled and punished. But foolish people, they do not understand all these things. They think they are very happy in the conditioned state of material life, not knowing the purpose of repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. So when we are conditioned, the living entity, they are thinking that, yes, my life is very good. That's why some people, when you are talking about spiritual life, they are not taking it seriously. We are all having enough experience when we are in Krishna consciousness, when we are trying to share this knowledge, maybe to our friends, colleagues, relatives, or family members. They are not very serious. And sometimes we are wondering why, when we are taking this seriously, why they are not taking seriously. The reason is whoever is conditioned, they think that they are happy. So that example is given, like Prabhupada always says, uh, like one time there was a person when Prabhupada was in Juhu temple, there was one person, he used to come to meet Prabhupada. The Juhu temple was there, not fully established, the center was there. So every time he will come and meet Prabhupada. Prabhupada asked him, where are you staying? He said, I am in Juhu only, same area. Then Prabhupada asked him, so if you are in same place, why don't you come for our arti and programs? Then that person said, Swamiji, I am very busy. Morning, 7 o'clock, I say 6, 7 o'clock, I go outside for my work and everything. I come home at night, 10 o'clock. Like that, he was telling. So Prabhupada said, he said, you see, in this Jew area, there are a lot of pigs. Okay, they are also very busy from morning to night, roaming here and there. They have their family and they are so on. So what is the difference between the pig and ourselves? Like that, he asked. That person, he was so much by that word, his heart got pierced. Then he became transformed into a devotee after hearing that statement. Because what happens when we are in the conditioned state, Prabhupada always says the pig is also thinking that it is having a happy life because it's having its own family, it's getting its children, and they are very happy. But the pig is never thinking that I am struggling in my life. Okay. So whether it is any animal, so animals do not know that they are suffering. Because they don't have that special intelligence, whether it is a goat. Prabhupada always gives this famous example of goat. When there are a lot of in a butcher shop, you can see, especially in India, we don't have slaughterhouse like here. Normally, if you see in the olden days, a lot of goats are tied near the tree, and the butcher shop will be nearby in a hut. So this one goat will be already slaughtered. So people want to buy the meat. They all go and stand in the line, and this guy take one sheep, and he will cut it in front of the other sheep. But the other sheep, they don't care that this sheep is being cut now. Next will be my turn. The other goats, he will put some grass, they will happily eat the grass. So he is saying that is animal life. Animal do not know they are suffering, and animal do not know that next is my turn, that this butcher will take me and cut. So human being also who is not understanding that I am suffering, people are dying, people are getting disease, people are getting old age, they are suffering, but simply they are eating the grass called sense gratification without thinking that this will not come to me or I am not bothered about this. That people are in the platform of same like animals. So if somebody is not taking spiritual life seriously, that means seriously, or they are not even inclined to spiritual life. Prabhupada says they are almost equivalent to animal. So that's called as polished two-legged animals. So animal normally is in four legs. This human being is in the they are called as polished two-legged animals because they do not know that they are even suffering in this material world. Their old age is waiting, death is waiting, disease is waiting, and all those things. And one time, Prabhupada was, in London, there was a case against Bhaktivedanta Manor by local people, and the temple was closed. So in London, everybody protested. All the Hindu community protested to the court that, we want this temple to be opened. So that time, all the Hindu people united and they made a big revolution in London. That may be 1980, sometimes 1985, like that. So the Sivaram Swami Maharaj, who is a GBC member, he appointed a lawyer to fight in the court to open the temple. So lawyer, they normally, if they want to argue about a case, they want to know the history of the movement. So the lawyer, he read the whole Prabhupada's, philosophy and books and everything, what he did, how he went 70 years, he opened temples, everything. So he read because he want to argue the case. So one day when he was sitting with Sivaram Swami Maharaj, he was saying, your Prabhupada did so much hard work. You people don't realize that. Then Sivaram Swami Maharaj said, no, we know how Prabhupada struggled. We know that. We know better than you. He said, no, you do not know. Like that he told. Then Maharaj asked, like, why you are saying like that? No, he's saying, you do not know because you people are now 25 years old. I am 70 years old. At 70 years old, I know how a condition of a body, physical body will be there and how it is difficult to do any activity at that time. But Prabhupada, at the age of your spiritual master, at the age of 70, he did such a big revolution. That means what I understood, you don't understand because you are still young. You do not know how the body will react at that age. So it is like that. The old age or disease or death, it's all a very painful process. But a materialistic person is not bothered about all these things. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in 7.15, Namam Dushkritino Muda Prapadyante Naradama. So, Prabhupada, here also he says, one time when Prabhupada was going for a morning walk, he was always, Prabhupada, he always tells fools and rascals. If you tell anything, they will tell, Prabhupada will say, for materialistic person, he will tell fools and rascals. So, there was one person who was walking with Prabhupada. His name is, I think, Patel or something. He usually comes with Prabhupada for the morning walk. So he was actually asking Prabhupada, why you are using such a harsh word? Why can't you use milder words? This is like insulting. Even sometimes somebody is not worshipping Prabhupada, Krishna, he will tell he's a rascal, fool. So this person got so much disturbed by these words and he told Prabhupada, why you are using, Swamiji, why are you using such harsh words? Why can't you use some milder, soft words? People not worshipping God, immediately telling fools, rascals, like that. So Prabhupada said, Prabhupada was fast for some 1 minute and he said, no, I am not saying, Krishna is saying, and I am repeating what Krishna is saying. And Prabhupada quoted this way, Namam Dushkritino Muda, Prapadyante Nadam. Krishna itself using fool, the word called fool, Namam Dushkritino Muda, the word is used, fools. So Prabhupada said, I am not using, I am just repeating what Krishna has said. So Krishna himself says, who will not surrender to him, they are actually foolish people. These Mudas do not know that if they want to purify themselves, they must worship Lord Krishna, Vasudeva, by performing penance and austerities. So how we worship Lord Krishna? Krishna enjoys our sacrifices and penances. Bhoktaram, Yajna Tapasam. Bhoktaram means Krishna enjoys. What is that? Yajna Tapas. Whatever the sacrifice we do, Sankirtan, sacrifice, Yajna Tapas, and whatever austerity we do, that Krishna enjoys. And Krishna blesses that soul. That is the purification. This purification is the aim of human life. And Prabhupada also write that this purification is the main aim of human life. This life is not meant for blind indulgence in sense gratification. This is a very important point. If you don't read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, what happens? Normally, when we are studying the school, going to college, and then taking a job offer, having family, getting married, getting children, if anybody does not have this spiritual knowledge, default he will think that this life is for just enjoyment. I have to earn good money, take care of my family, and enjoy maximum possible before death. Whatever possible for me before death, let me enjoy to the maximum. That is a default mindset of any person who is not having any scriptural knowledge. Of course, he will take care of his family and earning, going to job, everything. But his aim of life will be to be having maximum sense enjoyment before especially old age comes or death comes. But the scriptures exactly give us a proper guidance that in the human form of life, this life is not meant for blind indulgence in sense gratification, but human form, the living being must engage himself in Krishna consciousness to purify his existence. So the whole process of chanting and all these things is purification. Because Prabhupada says, originally the spirit soul is pure. Because the spirit soul has come into the association of material nature, it has become contaminated. Like rainwater is falling down from the sky, it is pure. But as soon as it is actually falling down into the mud, in the ground, it gets contaminated with the mud. Again, you have to put it into a filter, like you have water filter, and you need to purify the water back to the original position. Similarly, this material world, the soul is getting contaminated. The consciousness gets contaminated, not the soul itself. The consciousness gets contaminated. So Prabhupada established International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Means when you are thinking about Krishna in your consciousness, aware of Krishna, Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, Vishmartave Jatachit. If you are aware of Krishna, then you become, the purification starts and you experience pleasure. So that one is very, very important. So the consciousness has to be purified by engaging in spiritual practices. Prabhupada quotes again the 5th canto, where we already checked, we seen these verses, where Rishabhadev is also an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is instructing his 100 sons. Bharat Maharaj is also one of the sons, where he is saying, Nayam Deho Dehabhajam Nirloke Kashtan Tapo Dibbam Putra Karena Satyeta Suddhe Yasmad Brahma Saukyam Tu Anantam. So that verse Prabhupada is quoting here, Tapo Dibyam Putraka, oh my dear sons, this human life is meant for Dibyam. Tapo Dibyam means spiritual austerities. Why? Yena Satyam Suddhet. That you then you will get purified. So if I get purified, the 4th line, it said that Tasmat Brahma Saukyam Tu Anantam. Then you will get unlimited happiness. Not limited material happiness, that Tasmat Brahma Saukyam Tu Anantam. This is the instruction of King Rishabhadev to his sons. In the human form of life, one must undergo all kinds of austerity to purify his existence. Yasmad Brahma Saukyam Tu Anantam. So this pleasure is Anantam, means unlimited. We are all seeking happiness, but because our ignorance and foolishness, we cannot know what the unobstructed happiness really is. Unobstructed happiness is called Brahma Saukyam, or it is called spiritual happiness. And here also we can see that. Okay, 1 minute. Here also we can see Prabhupada, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the sattvic happiness is like beginning, it is like in the 18th chapter, Krishna is saying that Rajasic happiness is like in the beginning it is nectar, but in the end it is like a poison because it is limited and temporary in nature. But whereas sattvic happiness, it begins like poison, but ends like a nectar. Same thing. Although we may get some so-called happiness in the material world, that happiness is temporary. The foolish materialist cannot understand this. One important point here, the foolish materialist cannot understand this. As long as a person remains as a Muda, even though whatever instruction we say, if he wants to remain as a foolish person, then he cannot understand all these points. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj points out, again in 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj prayers is given here, Maya Sukaya Bharam Udvato Vimudam. Merely for temporalistic, materialistic happiness, these rascals are making huge arrangements and thus they are baffled life after life. So as long as people are only engaged in self-gratification, they will be baffled. Puna Puna Charvita Charvananam. Prahlad Maharaj says that achieving the chewed, we will not get. So one thing we have to understand about material happiness is it is temporary, it is never satisfied, and it keeps you entangled with the life of birth and death again and again. So all these things, when you are contemplating, slowly we can try to come out of the sense gratification and engage in the process of Krishna consciousness. So that's important, Srila Prabhupada, very beautiful purport here. So if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to share your realization, please you can share that also. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. So you want to go next verse, Prabhu, then you can share the slide.
Okay, we'll go to the next verse, Guruji.
Next verse is actually a little bigger, and I'm not sure whether we can finish. If you want, if you want to discuss from this verse, we can discuss. Or if you want to go to the next verse also, that is fine.
Three small paragraph. Two. Okay.
And then we can go. You can
Two
share
paragraph.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 5.18.3. Do you want to read?
Krishna.
Okay, Mataji, please.
Verse number 3. Aho vijitram bhagavati cheshtitam khanandam janoyam kimishanna pashyati vadanti vishwam kavayasmanaswaram pashyanti chatyatma vido vipaschita. Aho vijitram bhagavati cheshtitam nandam granoyam kimishanna pashyati ध्यायन्न सत्यर्हि विकर्म सेविदुं निर्हृत्य पुत्रं पितरं जिजीविषति. अहो विचित्रं भगवद्विचेष्टितं नन्दं जनोऽयं किमिषन्न पश्यति ध्यायन्न सत्यर्हि विकर्म सेविदुम्. Translation. Alas, how wonderful it is that the foolish materialist does not heed the great danger of impending death. He knows that death will surely come, yet he is nevertheless careless and neglectful. If his father dies, he wants to enjoy his father's property, and his son dies, he wants to enjoy his son's possessions as well. In either case, he heedlessly tries to enjoy material happiness with the acquired money. Perfect. Material happiness means to have good facilities for eating, sleeping, sexual intercourse, and defense. Within this world, the materialistic person lives only for these four principles of sense gratification, not caring for the impending danger of death. After his father's death, a son tries to inherit his money and use it for sense gratification. Similarly, one whose son dies tries to enjoy the possessions of his son. Sometimes the father of a dead son even enjoys his son's widow. Materialistic persons behave in this way. Thus, Sukadeva Goswami says, how wonderful are these pastimes of material happiness transacted by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, materialistic persons want to commit all kinds of sinful activities, but without the sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one can do anything. Why does the Supreme Personality of Godhead permit sinful activities? The Supreme Lord does not want any living being to act sinfully, and he begs him through his good conscience to refrain from sin. But when someone insists upon acting sinfully, the Supreme Lord gives him the sanction to act at his own risk. Matta smrita jnanam apohanam cha. No one can do anything without the sanction of the God. But he is so kind that when the conditioned soul persists in doing something, the Lord permits the individual soul to act at his own risk. According to Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura, sons always outlive their fathers in other planetary systems and other lands in this universe, especially on Swargaloka. However, on this planet, Earth, a son often dies before his father, and the materialistic father is pleased to enjoy the possessions of his son. Neither the father nor the son can see the reality that both of them are awaiting death. When death comes, however, all their plans for material enjoyment are finished.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, continuing the prayers, verse number 3. So, translation. Alas, how wonderful is that the foolish materialist does not heed the great danger of impending death. See how beautifully they are praying. The personalities in these verses, they are praying that to the Lord. Alas, how wonderful it is that the foolish materialist does not heed to the great danger of impending death. He knows that death will surely come, yet he is nevertheless careless and neglectful. So everybody knows that we will die. He is nevertheless careless and neglectful. If his father dies, he wants to enjoy his father's property. And if his son dies, he wants to enjoy his son's possession as well. In either case, he heedlessly tries to enjoy material happiness with acquired money. So the whole point here is, even though we know that there is death, but our focus is always remaining that as long as the death date is there, till the time I will enjoy in whatever way possible. If father is there, he will try to enjoy his son's position. If son is there, he wants to enjoy the father's position. So that's what the prayer, and Prabhupada is writing the purport, very strong purport. Prabhupada is writing, the purpose of writing such strong purports is to induce vairagya for the reader. Because unless we get this vairagya, we cannot develop in the spiritual life. Because Krishna also says in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that if you want to control the mind, you have to have two things. One is sadhana, practice, and vairagya. Two things he is saying to Arjuna. By these two things only you can control your mind. One is vairagya and second is practice. Repeated practice and vairagya. So practice, we are doing the sadhana, and these scriptures are helping us to show the reality and also to enhance, means make our vairagya stronger. That Prabhupada uses so an opportunity in the purport. He is trying to give such instructions whereby our vairagya will become more stronger and stronger, that we may not be entangled into sense gratification or sense enjoyment. So that's a real intent of Prabhupada writing such strong purports, is that, our mind should not be attracted for sense enjoyment. So here if you go to purport, so material happiness means, we know these four things: ahara, nidra, bhaya, maitunam cha. Hitopadesha also same verse is there, very famous verse. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, maitunam cha, samana eti pasubir naranam, dharma hitesham adhiko vishesho, dharmena hina pasubir samana. So, ahara, nidra, bhaya, maitunam, eating, mating, sleeping, and defending are common to both human and animals. But what is different? Dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho. The dharma or living the spiritual life is a special quality for the human being, which is not for animals. If the dharmena hina pasubhi samana, if the dharma is not followed, then he is pasubhi samana. He is equal to animal. He is not different from any animal. Because we are sleeping in the cozy bed, the animal is sleeping on the street. But sleeping is same for both. Only the place is different. Okay, so heating is also same. Only thing, the animals cannot know about God, cannot express their love to God, but a human being has the potential for knowing God and expressing the love to God. But if they do not use that, dharmena hina pasibir samana. That's what Prabhupada is beginning with this purport. Only the materialistic person lives only for these four principles of sense gratification, which is ahara, nidra, bhaya, maitunam. Not caring for the impending danger of death. Normally in this world, what happens after his father's death, a son tries to inherit his money and use it for sense gratification. When they don't have proper goal in life or guidance, then naturally anybody gets money. What happens? He will try to enjoy maximum. So that's what happens after his father's death. A son tries to inherit his father's money and use it for sense gratification. Similarly, one whose son tries to enjoy the possession of his son. Other way around, if son dies, the father tries to use the son. Sometimes because we are the devotee community, we may not know, or we may think this is really happening. No, outside the devotee community or outside normal materialistic society, many things happen like this. We are seeing many news articles like sometimes the father is exploiting the son, sometimes the son is exploiting the father. Both is happening. Generally, majority, what happens, the son will exploit the father. That is what majority. But there are cases where the father is also trying to exploit the son's position as much as possible. He does not go to work and he will try to live on his son's earning, on son's positions like that. That's why Prabhupada is writing. Sometimes even the father of a dead son even enjoys his son's widow. So much things are there which is happening, which we may not know, but people have this enjoying propensity very stronger in their mind. Materialistic persons behave in this way. Thus, Sukadeva Goswami says, how wonderful are these pastimes of material happiness transacted by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, materialistic persons want to commit all kinds of sinful activities, but without the sanction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So no one can do anything. Why does the Supreme Personality of Godhead permit sinful activities? Now, many times we say that even a blade of grass will not move without the will of the Lord. Sometimes people sometimes say that it is because God has given, no, because of God only I am doing this sinful activity. People may mistake. That's why Prabhupada is clarifying that the Supreme Lord does not want any living being to act sinfully. So the Lord does not want anybody to act in a sinful way. And he begs him through the good conscience to refrain from sin. See, as soon as we are trying to do something wrong or sin, our heart will beat very fast. Everybody experience somebody who is going to steal others' property. Sometimes he is taking something without his knowledge. Or when the moment before he is committing that activity, the heart will start fast. There is a conscience saying from inside that this is wrong. For everyone, even for a thief, this conscience will be there. But repeatedly, when you are doing again and again, that conscience power will reduce. But first time, second time, third time, that conscience will be very powerful. That's what Prabhupada is saying. The Supreme Lord does not want any living being to act sinfully, and he begs him through the good conscience. Conscience, we say manasachi. In our language, we say manasachi means the mind witness. So that conscience is actually the Lord is actually guiding not to do that, to refrain from sin. But when the mind is so strong and the Jivatma wants to commit that sinful activity, then the Supreme Lord is giving sanction to act at his own risk. Okay, so when we are repeatedly asking that we ought to do, we are hankering for the desire, then Lord says, okay, go ahead, but it's under your risk. I will not be any more responsible for this because you did not listen to my voice. So that is what Prabhupada is repeating. Matta smriti jnanam apovanam cha. Also, we know one more verse in 13th chapter 23. Upadrishta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramayatnaiti chapito dehismin purushapara. So the Lord is situated as a Paramatma. He is the permitter. But he will permit when you are repeatedly asking, and if it is in your karmic credit, he will sanction it. And also here in 15.15, Krishna says, Matta smritir jnanam apovanam cha. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Three things. So no one can do anything without the sanction of the Lord. Okay, so somebody, any living entity, whatever they are doing, they cannot do anything without the sanction of the Lord. But he is so kind that when a conditioned soul persists in doing something, the Lord permits the individual soul to act in this own risk. So this example we can see sometimes in the material world also. Sometimes children, they will tell, no, I want to do this, I want to do this. The father is saying, no, if you don't do this, you will be landing into problem. So repeated advice, but the son is persisting, no, I will not eat, I will not come to home if you don't allow me. Then the father says, okay, you do, but you are not listening to me, my advice. But if you get any problem by doing this, you have to handle this. I will not be involved. Like that sometimes father is telling. Same thing here also the Lord says, don't do it. But the Jivatma repeatedly is desiring for the sinful activity. Then the Lord says, okay, you do it, but at your own risk. Means what is the own risk? He has to face the karmic reactions. Okay, so he has to suffer for that in the future. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, sons always outlive their fathers in other planetary system and other lands in this universe. So, especially in Swargaloka. However, on this planet, a son often dies. However, on this planet, Earth, a son often dies before his father, and the materialistic father is pleased to enjoy the possession of his son. Neither the father nor the son can see the reality that both of them are awaiting death. When death comes, however, all their plans for material enjoyment are finished. So the point here, how in so father means normally it is as per the protocol. The son will live for longer time and the father will actually go after that. But in material world, sometimes comes in a reverse way that sometimes the son goes before the father. So the whole core point is sense gratification. Whole Bhagavatam is pointing out that we are spirit souls, we are part and parcel of the Lord, and we have to serve the Lord in love and devotion. But what is stopping that propensity of love and devotion is actually the mind getting diverted to sense gratification, trying to enjoy through the body, then his spiritual life gets destroyed. So the whole Bhagavatam, we want to revive that serving propensity and try to destroy that enjoying propensity. With that focus only, all these prayers are explained, the purport of Bhagavatam, and all those things are meant for reviving our serving spirit and to control our enjoying spirit. So that's what we are discussing from the prayers. Now, third verse, then there is again 4, 5, and 6, 3 more verses continuing the same prayers. So that we can discuss maybe the coming days. Fourth verse is saying about how the Maya even bewilders learned sages. That is fourth verse, next verse. Maya is so powerful that even not only for materialistic people, now it has said that the Maya's power, he said here for third verse is for materialistic people. But next verse, the prayer says that the Maya not only for materialistic people, it even bewilders learned sages also. So that is the fourth one. So, and fifth is saying about the inconceivable energy of the Lord, how it is actually making this work. And who is Hayagriva? We know Hayagriva is the retriever of the Vedas. One time when the Vedas were stolen, Hayagriva, the Lord's incarnation, he retrieved the stolen by the demon. He has retrieved the Vedas. So in the form of Hayagriva. That's why when we pray to Hayagriva, especially the children, in Tamil Nadu, there is a special temple called for Hayagriva. So where all these children, they go for a good education, good, to get good intelligence. So Hayagriva is prayed. So form avatar of Lord Vishnu, Krishna. So where they pray for getting good intelligence and wisdom, because he has rescued the Vedas stolen by the demon and reinstated them. Upon Brahma's request, he has reinstated the Vedas which was stolen by this demon. Hare Krishna. So I think it's time, and now devotees, if you have any questions, comments, or understanding, or any realization, please feel free to share that.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So thank you for the opportunity.
And
Hare Krishna.
Manoharini Mataji also. Thank you, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna. Madhi Mataji, very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the nice explanation of the verse. Thank you, Prabhu. And last verse, Prahlad Maharaj verse was quoted. So in the 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj is telling to Hiranyakashipu that material life is like a dark well, Antakupam. Hitvatma Kama. Griham Antakupam. It's like a blind well. We'll go deeper and deeper.
Yes.
So we have to go Gatim Harim Ashrayate. We have to take shelter of Harim. Like that in the verse, Prahlad Maharaj is telling his father Hiranyakashipu.
Nice. Yes, yes. So the Prahlad prayers are very, very instructive, and he says from Kaumaram Acharit Prajnodharam. He also says
yes,
that
yeah.
spiritual life we have to take.
Yeah.
Very true.
The younger age.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Krishna.
We are 2 points that I noted, that Brahma Sokyam, the spiritual happiness.
Yasmad Brahma Saukyam tu Anantam.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Also, what is the actual happiness is Brahma Sokyam.
Yes.
So, also the obstructed, the unobstructed happiness, that is Brahma Sokyam. So, fools are, they are punished by material nature, the Yamad Brahmam Saukyam Anandam. So, just like we are seeking happiness because of ignorance and foolishness.
Yes.
There.
Thank you very much. I think that verse is very nice verse, 5.5.1.
Yeah.
The teaching has a complete philosophy. It says that Rishabhadev says to his sons, before giving the handing over the kingdom, is giving the instructions, because something valuable you are giving, you have to give the instruction, otherwise they may misuse it. So that's why before handing over the kingdom to his 100 children, he is giving this instruction. And what is the instruction he is giving? The first verse is Rishabhadev is saying, Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam Nirloke. So he's telling that we are not this body. That's the first instruction. You are not this body. And because you have accepted this body, Kashtan Kaman Arati Vidbujange. Like this body, if you are using sense gratification, even the, like the animals like pig, it is said Vidbujange means the stool eating pig, like that. So it is actually you are spoiling like that. And then he's saying this human life is Tapo Divyam Putraka Yena Sattva. Divyam, spiritual. Then Putraka means plural, like all the children is telling. Then you will get purified. Then Sattvam Suddhyat Yasmat Brahma Saukyam to Anantam. Then you will get something, the spiritual happiness, which is unending, which is not like temporary material happiness. So here we can see the translation of the verse. My dear boys, all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who was awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hawks that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. So very beautiful. The whole philosophy you can see is actually encapsulated in one verse, that you are not this body. When you are getting this human form of life, you should not work very hard and day, which is already same like animals are doing. But you can use that for your spiritual progress, by which you get purified. When you get purified, then you will attain happiness, which is not at all ending, never ending. So that should be the aim and goal of life. By saying this, then he's handing over the kingdom to his children.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Very, very important, very interesting subject. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Guruji. Pranam. Hare Krishna. So I think, Guruji, we can conclude, Prabhu.
Yes. So thank you all for
Hare Krishna. Thank you all, yes, for joining. So please do join tomorrow also, as our reading continues at same time all the days except Friday.